Due to the subpar skills of this gamer, your discretion is advised. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I am Sully, and it is time for us to finish the 5th Commandment. This one has several legs to it. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a multi-part video, so follow along. You get this original quest from Catherine at the pub. It looks just like one of these normal quests. Right? So when he pops up, you know where she is because you already talked to her. She's still at the same pub. So when this pops up, go to her, pick it up, and this is what it is. We are playing detective. There are quite a few clues to follow. We have to attempt to apprehend a serial killer. So let's get into it. So first we're going to go and talk to this guy here. There he is. Lumiere.
Lumiere? Are you feeling better?
What? Who?
My name is Henry.
And what do you want from me?
I'm trying to find out who killed a certain girl. And I was sent to you.
To me? What for?
Are you Lumiere from the rat house? The scribe?
I used to be. Now I'm just Lumiere the madman.
They say that about you. Why?
Because I was just on some wild goose chase. And what came of it? Absolutely nothing.
But I need your help.
If I were you, lad, I'd leave it be. You can't help that girl anymore, anyway. You'll just end up hurting yourself.
Come now, Lumiere.
Poor girls. Nobody was all that interested in it, except for me. We let it be in the end. We let a monster walk among us. No way. You can't solve this yourself.
I'm not doing it for myself. I'm afraid he might kill one of my friends.
A friend, eh? That's not good. Not good at all. I searched high and low. And what did I get out of it? Just mockery. What makes you think you can find out more than I did?
Because I'm not stupid, and I notice things. I've successfully solved a murder before.
Is that so? A murder investigation under your belt. And educated and observant, too.
Exactly. I'm not afraid to come to my own conclusions.
How about that? A real master scholar from Prague. Was that really supposed to convince me? Why should I trust someone so foolish?
Because I'm stubborn, and I don't have any other choice. I'll get to the truth no matter what.
You think that will suffice?
If not, I'd have been dead long ago. Bled out from a human arrow.
All right. Talk to me. Who was this dead girl?
Her name was Alice. She worked as a maid.
A maid? That fits. Yarka was a maid, too. As were most of the other victims. What did she look like? What did he do to her?
I think that he strangled her first, and then went at her with a longer blade and disemboweled her.
Did you notice the strangulation right away? It took me a while. Maybe you really will track him down.
Do you think it's the same murder?
Counting your girl, that makes 6 victims who were first strangled and then mutilated. If it's not all the same person, they must be collaborating somehow.
This is the 6th one. How long has he been killing?
Probably about a year now. Sometimes it takes him months, sometimes weeks. But I'm including missing girls. Stanya and Zdena.
Why are you counting the missing girls?
Because I think someone killed them, and we just haven't found them yet.
Did the dead girls have anything in common?
Aside from being pretty young girls with no proper family or background, no. I couldn't find much.
Do you think somebody is killing them because they're poor, and nobody will miss them?
Certainly. If somebody killed the daughter of a local lord, no stone would be left unturned.
But why does he even kill in the first place?
I don't know. Maybe he hates women. Damn it. I feel like I'm going in circles and can't get out.
What can you tell me about Yarka?
She wasn't the first. But thanks to her, people started taking an interest. She was a maid in a German family. By all accounts, she was a pious, polite girl. She was orphaned as a child. The priest from the Church of St. Peter and Paul, Father Prokop, raised her. They found her body tossed behind a barn at the edge of town. She was cut all the way from her neck downwards. An awful sight to behold.
Did you have any suspects?
At first, I thought the son from that family did it. A murderer is usually someone close, you know. But then I changed my mind.
Why?
Well, for one, I remembered the two girls before her who ended up almost the same. Besides that, when I talked to the lad, he seemed he wasn't the least bit interested in Yarka. Then his mother told me that they threw her out a week before the murder because she was a harlot who stayed out till all hours of the night. That really surprised me, because Father Prokop had vouched for her good reputation. But who knows? Maybe he just didn't want to admit what had become of her.
What about Stanya?
She was an alehouse wench in a tavern of ill repute called the Hole in the Wall.
You said her body was never found. Maybe she just got out of town.
You have no idea how much I'd like to believe that. Only there was a lot of blood. Unfortunately, the investigation wasn't very successful. The Hole is a world of its own, and the people there aren't very forthcoming with information.
Did you suspect anybody?
You could suspect every second man there. Those people have nothing but thievery and deceit in their eyes. The innkeeper, Mole, definitely knew Stanya, since she worked for him. But he isn't all that chatty either.
So if I want to learn anything more, I have to ask this Mole in the hole.
Yeah. He
Did it?
still runs the place.
It's funny.
And what about that Zdena? You said her body was never found.
Exactly. But to tell the truth, nobody spent much time looking for it. Besides Alice, Zdena was the most recent victim. It's only been a few weeks since she went missing, but I suppose nobody wanted to do any more digging.
But if her body was never found, how do you know she was killed?
Because she was the same type as the other girls. Maybe the prettiest of them all. Young, beautiful. A real live one. Lively as the devil. She was a thief. A pickpocket. I never could pin it on her, though. She always found some way to get out of it.
Maybe she robbed the wrong people and had to get out of town.
Maybe. She had a partner in crime by the name of Strunad. Quite a number. He's always sitting in the hole, boozing. When I asked him about Zdena, he told me he'd rather rip his own tongue out than talk.
Do you think he'd be more forthcoming with me?
He might be. You're not known all over town like a catchpole. It's worth a try. Besides, it might still be fresh in his memory. That would be a great help.
And what about the other two victims?
It all started with them, though nobody did much about it at the time. The first one worked as a bathhouse maid. They called her Chestnut. She'd only been in town for a short while, and nobody really knew her. So I couldn't find out anything more. But the other one, Libushka, she was from Loretz. She was a maidservant, too. I also talked to her mother. She said she was really cheerful and outgoing. There were lots of suitors circling around her, but she refused them all. She knew she was pretty and knew she could do better than some farmhand.
You mean she wanted someone higher up?
That's what it sounded like. But her mother never found out who she had her eye on.
Interesting. I'll try to see what else I can find out from the mother. Where can I find her?
In the graveyard, lad. The poor woman died of grief. It's sad to say, but we can't help those two dead girls now. And they can't help us with our investigation either. There's nobody else left who could tell us anything about them.
Did you have any suspects back then?
You can always find some suspect. I always dragged the most suspicious ones to the body in the morgue by force. And they threw up at the sight. Or fainted.
Couldn't it have just been an act?
Fainting? Vomiting? That's hard to act. I'd swear none of them did it.
All right. It seems I know everything I need to know. It seems there's some killer on the loose here. He murders brunette girls and disfigures their bodies. His first victim was apparently the maid Yarka. I'll go and question her guardian, Father Prokop. Another two possible victims of the same killer are Stanya and Zdena. They both hung around a dodgy tavern called the Hole in the Wall.
There has to be some hidden connection between these cases. I hope you'll find it, since I couldn't.
I hope so. Otherwise, we won't have anything to go on.
When you learn something more, stop by and see me. You've aroused a bit of hope in me, lad. I hope you won't disappoint me.
To you as well.
Alright, we have quite a bit of information. So first, we're gonna go talk to the Padre, who is right here. Yeah, okay. Oh, he's on the move, okay.
Good day to you.
He's
What
usually at
brings
the
you
moor,
here?
at the graveyard.
Father, I need to ask you a few questions.
I don't have time for theological discussions, my son.
That's not why I'm here. My name's Henry, and I wanted to ask about the murder that happened recently. Someone killed and gutted a young maidservant and left her body lying by the city walls. And I hear it's not the first time this has happened.
Another one murdered. May the Lord grant her eternal rest. Why is it you ask?
Somebody is murdering maids here. We have to put an end to it.
Yes, but those poor souls are already at God's side. And revenge never...
I don't want revenge. I want to stop more killing. That's a better reason, isn't it?
True enough. What do you need to know?
One of the other victims was a girl named Yarka. But I reckon you know that, don't you? What can you tell me about her?
About Yarka. She was an ordinary girl. She served the von Groll family.
Where did you know Yarka from?
I knew her since she was a little girl. Knew her family.
And?
I was her uncle. When my brother and his wife died, I took care of her.
You raised her? A priest with a child?
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm not the first of the clergy to have a child on the side. But at least everyone knew Yarka wasn't my own daughter.
No offense, but how did you know what to do? Without a wife, without a family? I would have been lost.
I was a bit, son. When she was smaller, it was fine, but when she grew up a bit, maybe I was too hard on her.
How does that even work? Did you have her with you at the presbytery?
When she was small, I could. But when she grew up, she had to go. It wouldn't look right.
Why do you think you were too hard on her?
Yarko was an orphan, with no family and no possessions. Her only chance of a good life was a good upbringing. And then, a husband. But the more I led her in that direction, the more she resisted me.
You're well off, though. Couldn't you provide for her?
I couldn't. Even if she had been my very own. More so, since she was my brother's.
But how come?
The church's property always remains the church's. They keep a close eye on that.
How did she rebel against you?
She wouldn't listen. She ran away. She ran around with all sorts. And how did it turn out? She died. And in sin. Such a disgrace.
Disgrace? What the devil are you talking about?
She was pregnant. Even if she had lived, what then? Nobody would want to marry her anymore.
Why don't you respect Lumir?
That's my business. You needn't concern yourself about that. I won't tell you anything.
Come now, Father. I'm not just asking out of curiosity. This is about all the dead girls. Isn't it written in scripture, speak up for those who have no voice?
A layman quotes the Bible to me. Fine. Lumir accused me of her murder.
What?
Yes. He slandered me in public.
And how... What happened then?
It turned out he was deranged. How could he even think such a thing? He's finished in Kuttenberg.
Who do you think killed her?
William, that pig of Satan. He gambles in the tavern on All Saints' Day and leads the locals astray. Yaka always went there to listen to music. I'm sure he got her with child.
Why do you think it was William? Do you have any evidence?
Evidence? He's a skirt chaser, a tool of Satan. He messes with poor girls' heads.
And does anyone else come to mind? No other man spoke with her?
No, absolutely not.
I've heard enough, Father. I'll be going.
Son, I'll give you some good advice. Don't listen to Lumir. That man has gone completely mad.
Okay, cool. So, when you get the quest from Catherine, you get two options. They both bring you to the same place, the graveyard. You speak to the gravedigger, and then you go and check out the body. The priest will also be there too. Okay? And then, once you talk to the girl that's at the grave, Alice's friend, that leads you to Lumia. And then Lumia leads you to the priest. And that's where we are. Cool? Everybody caught up? Cool. So, one of these people that we're talking to, that we and will be talking to, they will most definitely be the murderer. Because that's how these things work. So, pay attention. At the end, you probably already know who the murderer is. Alright? So, we're going to go to the hole in the wall. This district here. We're going to go talk to a few people.